All right, so please calm down and keep the noise low so that when I speak and it's recorded, it's a little bit clearer, because that was one of the complaints that's been coming up. It's a lot of background noise. All right. So what we are doing this week is we are doing selection. We are doing selection queries, and this is the database we are using. Last time, as we said, there's a country, city, and country language. So what I'll be doing is exploring this database with you. Right? And we'll do it in small sections. So please, I'll do a small section, and then I'll take questions. Do another small section, take questions. Right? So just as review from last time, connecting to the database using command prompt. So you first need to go to wherever you've installed your software. So wherever your installation was, there's a folder called bin. So wherever you install your MySQL to, there's a folder there called bin. In there you find MySQL program. If you just type it, you can't connect. You need a username, so I need to specify my username, right? And you may also need a password if you set your password. So the first time, some people have not set their password, it will allow them to connect. But if you set your password, you need to use the -p option. So you can see that when I say MySQL, I say -u root. That means my username is root. If I say -u root -p, means it should ask me for my password. Right. The moment you connect to any MySQL database, you can say show databases to list the databases that you have currently available. Did this last time. And if you want to use a specific database, you say use, and then you type the name of the database. Always end your commands in semicolon. Right. That means any selection that I make will go with respect to the last thing that I said use. Right. So I need to find out what tables I have. Last time we said there's country, city, and country language. To find out the columns in my table, I can say describe. For example, city, that's the city description. I can also say, for example, describe country. Country is a little bit long, right? But I can scroll up and see what was there. But this is country. I can also describe, there's country language. Right? So that's the country language. Last time we began by selecting some information. If you do select star, it means that what? All your columns, all the data. But keep in mind, very, very sensitive to the syntax. So the syntax is select something from your table. This is all my tables. Well, so all the data in the tables. But sometimes you don't want to get everything at once. Maybe your connection is slow, you don't want to dump all the data. You can use limits. So limit 1 will get me the first one. And you also don't need to get all the columns. You can specify the columns you're interested in. So last time we brought our code named continent region. Right. So I can list a few things. Right. Now, sometimes you want to pick based on specific columns. So you can do that as well using what? Where, for example, code is equal to GHA. That means I want Ghana to come out. Right. Or where, for example, so that's another example, where region, let me do continent Africa. Continent equals Africa. These are all the countries in Africa, 58 of them. Right. So you can use the from and the where can also be complex. So maybe where Africa is this, and region equals Eastern Africa. Right. So you can use these select from and where to filter your data. Right. Let me pause and then take questions. All right. All right. Show databases. use sample. All right, so right now we have here in the city list, so select star from city where, okay, let me limit one, right? So these are the things that are in city, and you'd realize that the city table has a country code column, right? So it means I can do something like country code equals, let's say, Ghana. You can use any other, okay. That's good, people are very fast. Okay, so where country code is Ghana. At the same time, I could have also done a query that is select star from country where code is equal to Ghana, right? So you'd see that it's possible that I have some data in two different locations, but now I want to put them together based on a certain column, right? So previous, as I said, I have the country. So for example, I have code, name, continent, region, right? And I also have the city, and I want to put them together based on a common field, meaning that what I want to have all of them appear in one row, right? So the way that you do it, we use the where from. So from, that means that now I don't want to just what from one table. I want to take from all the tables that you are picking from. So if you want to pick from two tables, so I can say, well, I want to also get this city and country, right? Now, there's something here that can be frustrating sometimes, but it's something we have to talk about right now. That is when you say select star from city, right? Previously, in your city table, that's my city. In my city table, I have ID, name, country code, district, and population, right? So it means that when I do select star and I specify the two things that I want, I can list again ID, name, country code, district, population. But then, there are some columns that are common to the two tables. I hope people understand the point. One person made a table, there's a name column. So there's name in city, name in country. So if you are saying from both, you are getting now from two tables, from city and country, which of the names am I trying to print when I say name? Right. So the simple way that we solve this is to use proper, fully qualified name. That is, I can, for example, do city.name, city.country. This is much more fun than Java, right? You can quickly get information. By similar syntax to Java, something.something. So city dot. You could have done it for just the name. But as best practice, I would encourage you that anytime you write a query, don't leave the columns hanging. Specify where they are coming from. The reason is that sometimes, let's say 2 months later, you're going to do an update. You're adding another table to the query. You go and add it, and all of a sudden, everything stops working. But if you had been doing that practice of making sure that every time you specify the table, you specify the column, you won't be running into that issue where anytime you're adding a table, then you have to go and figure out which column is unique. I don't like playing that game. I just like to say, qualify all your column names. Right. Now, I know for a lot of systems, they tend to omit it, but this is good practice. Qualify your column names.
In this case, we're asking this permission from both the city
and the country.
But if you, let's say, qualify your column, that means only we'll go to information from the city. Then why do we need?
Okay, so let's get the country columns, right? There was country.name, country.what? Continent. There was continent, and country.region. I think I'm missing somebody. Near. You have a syntax error. Let's read through carefully. Okay, so everything should have a comma after it, right? So I have select ID, name, country code, district, city population. I am missing a comma, right? So please, these are errors that you meet. You must make sure that you comma separate everything properly. Country name, continent, region. And now I'm able to get what? All the information. But is there something wrong? Look at the information I have so far. It's saying that what? The ID is 930, name Accra, country code Ghana, district Greater Accra, population, name Aruba, continent North America, region Caribbean. Right. So what do you think is wrong? It's picking out the wrong country. So it means that this selection I've done here, so yeah, I'm making mistakes, but it's to make mistakes so you don't make them. So the selection I've done here, it is accurately able to pick. Country code was a column from the city table. Right. So if I do select star from city, where country code is equal to, right, I'm able to get these. And so it means that when I said country code, it went there and picked it. Said, okay, I know country code, but country code is distinct. It's coming from the city table. But what about what? The country table. I have not done any filter on that one. It means that it's going to pick. So without the limit one, this is disgusting, but I'll do it. Without the limit one, what MySQL does, and what most databases will do is, they'll go and pick all the possible cities and all the possible countries that it can find and do the combination. It will mix all of them. So you can see it's going through, well, hopefully let me just stop. Right. It's done Kuwait, South Korea, St. Kitts. So it's doing every single possible country you can find. So when you do this select star from city, this, that means that it's going to take the first list, apply the filter. Go and take which is country, and then we'll combine every possible country in one side with every possible. So every single thing from city, that list it has, against every possible country. So it means that if I have 200 and what? Let me see how many countries I have. Right. So it says 239 countries, right? And then my filter that does this one. Count star allows us to count how many things are coming. So I have 5. So 5 against for 239. So it's going to count and do all the possible combinations. So I'm going to have many more tables than I need. Sorry, many more rows. In order to make it work, it means that what? I'll have to add another filter, right? I have to do country.code equals to Ghana. And now I am getting what? The right list. That it's seeing that country code should be Ghana, city should also be Ghana. And then it's combining all of them. Right? It means that if I make a mistake, and for example, so there are 5 cities, right? And only 1 country. So 5 times 1, I have 5 rows. If instead of Ghana, I said region West Africa, Western Africa, 35 rows. And if you see how many people we have in West Africa, so select name from country where region is equal to Western Africa. Right. So it's 17 against all of, sorry. I have to check. Why is it? Oh, it's 1. I think it's missing. This thing has to move a bit. Sorry. Oh, my window. So I just need to resize this properly. There's a number that's hiding some. Okay. All right. So it was 5 cities. So 5 times 17. What is it? Right? You can do this so MySQL is very versatile. You can do this. Select and it will do it. And so you can see that because there are 5 cities and there are 17 countries that it's getting. The final list, when it combines with West Africa, we have 85, which is 5 times 17. So it means that it is you, the person who is writing the code, who must properly pick from each table the rows that qualify. And the rows that qualify, we are using a filter here. So we say country code is Ghana. And if we want the specific country, we also have to say the code equals to Ghana. So that we pick the specific country we want, the specific city we want, and it will do all the combinations. But because there's 1 country, we are getting the correct list. So any questions on this part? Actually going to learn to write good code as opposed to relying on machines. Right. So let me just expand this. So if I said country code is USA or country.code equals to Ghana, how many rows am I expecting? There are 5 cities in Ghana. I'm filtering by the 5 cities. But now my countries, how many countries am I going to get back? 2 countries. So how many possible rows is it going to give me? 10. Right? 10 rows. So if I do this, so note, if I say select start from country where country code is Ghana, I get this. If I say where country code is Ghana or country code is, USA or Ghana, I get 2. Right? And that means that if I combine this with my previous, query about just, where's my, need the city, okay. With just the city one. I left my columns out. Right. My city code is giving me 5 things. So 5 things, doing all the possibilities against what? 2 countries. 5 permuted with 2. That means you're going to get what? Total of 10. So it's something that you have to start understanding if you want to write good SQL code. At any time. So it means it will first go and bring every table. Apply every filter. So if it's the first table, it will do whatever where if it applies to it. That means that if you don't specify a where condition, everything will come out, right? So if you don't specify a where for the city, so for example, this is just discussed, but I'll do it anyway. So it means if here I don't specify country, I shouldn't do this, but I will, just to show you what will happen. So if I remove this, that means that what? I am now saying I want all the cities because my where doesn't filter the city at all. That means I want all the cities going against 2 countries. So if I hit, right, that means everything, every single city will be paired against. So logically, you the human being, you have to study your data, foreign keys or no foreign keys. Understand your data to know what column am I picking, what column am I picking, so that it will do the right combination. Right. So I'll pause here for questions. So, what if we do not know the specific cities we are using, right? Did I pick the wrong? One is Python, sorry. Right. If we do not know the specific city we are using, sorry. Oh, where's my query? Sorry. Should be my last one. Okay. If we don't know the specific city we are using, we can still be smart about how we put together the city and the country. Right? So my only thing was I want to put together the city and the country so that I get good information from this database. There are cities and there are countries. But I can say city.countrycode equals what? Country.code. This means that now, instead of just picking and doing all the combinations from one table to the other table, you can use a specific column to join people from one data set with people from another data set. And this is actually hinting at your foreign key. Those of you doing primary key, foreign key. Realize that when you do foreign key, primary key, it means that what? From one table, there's a value that is being used in another table, right? And if you look at my diagram here, the country code is what's being used for country. And the code here is what's being used for the country language. And that means, country code in the country language table. That means that when I'm putting data together, which is why we like to do this foreign key, primary key, now we have a good idea of how the data should be put back together. So we'd say get information from this table. But we are joining on, and that will be specified in the where clause. So my where condition, I specify city.countrycode equals what? Country.code. And at the very least, even if I do limit 100, I believe that it's getting the right cities and the right, let's do the cities in Africa. Right. So if I wanted to do the cities in Africa, what I have to add here is what? And country.continent is equal to Africa. Right. So these are now some cities from Africa. This is good geography. I don't know. Is it geography, right? So, Alger, where's Alger? In Algeria. Oran, Algeria. Constantine, Algeria. Annaba, Algeria. So these are now what? It's picking, but it now knows what? Every city, what country should be matching. And that's because, as I said, in my query now, I'm using what? Country code equals what? Country.code. You can now put two sets of tables together. If you wanted to put a third one, so for example, if I wanted to find out if I travel to a certain country and the cities, what language can I speak? Let me just remove, I'll leave the city name, right? City code, country name, continent. Right. So this list has been shorter, but there is also a table called country language. And in this table, I have the country code and the language. So if I wanted to now put together three tables, that means that I can do it simply by first, in my from, I'm going to add what? The country language. That's one. And then, in my where, what do I have to do here? Okay, so there are a couple of things that might happen. So someone is saying country code equals what? So I have a country language. So remember, I've been able to equate the fact that the city's country code should be equal to the country's country code. But I should also do the same for the language table. So country language code, country language dot country code. So that means that now, when you are matching it up, make sure that the country's code matches the country code from the language table. So now I'll be able to tell what languages are available. But let me just list, so there's something that's left. My columns, I need to specify what I want. So country language dot language. So now it's going to list for me 100 rows. Every city, when I go, what language I could speak. So from Alger in Algeria, Arabic or what? I don't know this language. Okay. And again, you can see that same language pair. So what I want you to see here is that it's repeating that same combination. The two languages in Algeria, Arabic and, forgive me, Berberi or something. So the two things are being repeated over and over. So you will do this combination until it has finished with all of what? The cities in Algeria. So it's repeating. So every time you see what? Algeria, Arabic. Okay. And then it goes to Luanda. Right. So Angola too starts going. I don't know why there are so many. So many of those. But here too is doing. Okay. So in Luanda, it's saying in Luanda you can speak Ambo, Chokwe, Congo. Well, all these languages. Right. So that is only in Luanda. It's listed all the combinations. Then it's going to the next city, Kwambo, and repeats the same thing with all the languages. So what a database management system can really do very quickly is it can start with matching data. It searches information from two tables or more, matches them. But then the pattern you should realize is that it repeats the same task over and over. So if its languages is comparing, it's found two in that country, it will match to everything. The next country will take the rows and it will match. So it's a little bit like a multiplication process, right? Or a combination process. So do all the combinations that are possible based on your query, right? So this is another one, Loboto in Angola. And they also have Ambo, Chokwe, Congo. So the same, wow. Let's go to another country. Benin. Benin is just across the border, right? So according to this, Benin has Aja, Aizo, Bariba, Fon, Full, Yoruba, Sumba. Wow, okay.
We have a lot of language. When you go to say Casamance, they don't
Okay, so currently your database is only as good as, okay, this is just the Ghana list, right? So your database is only as good as the data that is within it. So this current list comes from, it's a database that MySQL uses for their certification exams. I'm just using some of them so that if people want to take exams or something, some of these are already familiar, right? So in this list, you can see that people may already know some languages that are spoken, but maybe it's not represented here that way. That just means that the people who capture the data had a different idea or captured certain specific type of data. So if you want to improve it, so for example, I said last Monday that the president was not even correct. Right, so it's at that time when the data was entered. But today, things may be different. So now and then, these databases, people have to what? Update them. Right. So your point is right, that in reality, in Ghana, we may have, so it says Accra, so it said Accra, Ebe, Ga, Guruba, Juruba, Mosi. Wow, I didn't know that. Yeah, that's very, very... Okay, so I'm finding it a little bit interesting why it's so, but I'm going to print the language country's code just to see if it's really true that someone entered that for Ghana. Okay, so country language dot code or country code, right? Country code. Oh, did I? Ah, my comma business. Oh, this comma. At least here we are doing it together. Yeah, so according to this, the information, so you realize that I'm pulling country language and country code, and according to it, they've entered Mosi. I don't know. Maybe, yeah, there are some people here speak Mosi, but I don't know. So Kumasi says, Akan, Ever, Gadangwe, Kuba. Yeah, I find this, yeah, I don't know. Not to say that maybe Mosi people are not there, but maybe it's there. Okay, so what we are doing here is, it's not going to be that every specific city. So it's important to know that it doesn't mean that the specific city. What we did was, we got the list of all the country codes, right? And we are using it to filter across 3 tables. We have a city table, we have what? A country table, and a language table. So if I do, so name from city, where country code is Ghana. These are the cities from Ghana, the 5 of them, right? And if I also do select language from country language, where country code is equal to Ghana. Again, these are the languages that it has assigned. So when I combine the 2 tables, it is combining all the possible city combinations with all the possible language combinations in Ghana. Right. So you have this one. So let me just put just next to it. And this is country language. Okay, so one of them, so in order not to be ambiguous, country code is equal to this. And country language dot country code again is equal to Ghana. The name is ambiguous, it could be, but as I said, it's good to always be very specific so that it knows exactly where the column is coming from. And also country language dot language. So you can see that, as I said, it's doing combination of what? Picks Accra, matches against all the languages. It will pick what? The next town, matches against all the languages.
I think the data is accurate because I don't think it's necessarily matching
The specific city.
Yeah, the language. I don't think it's matching ethnic origin of the language to the cities. I think it's matching a particular speak. Like you find this people, right? And for example, I am a musician.
You are a...
Yes, and I'm in Accra. So
okay.
it works out.
But not for every city that will work out. But these languages are in Ghana, right? Yes. These languages, Mosi is in Ghana. But the way I've combined it, so it means that my query is not too, what's the word? Too accurate. In that I can't really tell exactly which city, what language is spoken in each city. The language list is coming from the country.
I think what is they're like cosmopolitan, right? So you find every single, like you find at least people from all of these.
So Mosi is you. Okay. Well, I don't know all of them, but I'm sure that people have met people from different groups. So we'll leave the the data access, right? So now that we've been able to do this combination, we can pull data from what? Different tables. Let us consider some statistical things we can do, such as counting information from different places. Right? Now, as far as statistics, the first one I did was I did something like count star. Select count star from country. So this is telling me, so count star will what? Count everything. Everything. So all the rows that are coming, it will count everything. So mostly when we are doing some queries, for example, if I want to find out how many countries are in Africa, I'll say where continent equals what? Africa. Very quick. Right. Asia. All right. So these are all queries. I can do them one by one, and I can add more things to the where condition. But there are other times when, instead of doing one by one, I would like to be able to group the information that is coming out. Right. Now, the way that grouping works, it is a lot like saying, I am going to sort. So let me just do a simple sort. So select name. Let me do this. Region, name, from country. These are all the regions, and these are all the countries that belong in them. Currently, it is not sorted, right? But I'm going to add sort. The way we sort, we say order by. So, for example, I can say order by region. That means that what? Sort by the region. Semicolon. So now you see it looks much more sorted. And if you look within the list, it may not be sorted inside because, for example, let's see Europe. There's Australia, Belgium, Switzerland, but Germany, that means that the second column isn't sorted. But if I want to sort that one, I would have to say region and then what? Name. So you can list multiple things in your order by. So now it is going to be sorted. So in Europe, I have Australia, Belgium, France, Germany, Liechtenstein, Luxembourg, Monaco, Netherlands, Switzerland. Right. And the sorting you can sort it whether ascending or descending. So I can add these, see? That means that now it is going to reverse. So you can have different columns where some are what? Ascending, some are descending. So you can mix it up. Right. So if we want to group this, so information, usually we want to group information and do some analysis on the information. So what I was telling you was, when it comes to human beings, when we are grouping information, that means we'll start from the top. And if we were counting, for example, how many countries are in each region, we'll pick one. As it's sorted now, you can count. Antarctica says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. Australia and New Zealand. Wow, I didn't know about the Cocos Islands. Okay. Christmas Island. Okay, so that means I can pick each and then what? Count. Now, the way that you can do that in a query, so this is slightly more advanced, but we're going to do it today because I think you can do it. I believe you can do it. Right. You say what? Group by region. So that means that the information will then be what? Grouped, and then you can ask a question about that group. So if I say group by region, it means that now, when I say count star, previously when I said count star, it was counting every single row. But now that I've said group by region, so look at this, group by region, just this. I'm supposed to group by continent. So let's see how many things are in each continent. Group by continent. So I have these continents. Right. That means that the group, within a group, but this is not actually correct, right? I'll show you something about MySQL that's very interesting. So even though if you pick Africa, so this is a warning for MySQL users. If you pick Africa, because I have written what? Get me the continent and the region. Please, this is very important. If you mess up on an exam, it's up to you. It's very important. And also messes up when people are doing queries for other people. Because MySQL won't stop you from saying that this continent, there's a region. But you've grouped by a continent. Region has multiple values. So this query is an illegal query. I hope you understand. So if you pick, let's say, this class, if I say group by gender, and I ask you, what is the name of the males? What are you going to say if it's a group? Hope you understand the question. If I ask, what's the name of the female in the class? It doesn't make logical sense. So you can write nonsensical queries. So in this query, for example, asking select star from country, that's great. Group by continent, awesome. But can you ask that, what is the name of the region of a continent? There are so many regions in the continent. So if you ask MySQL this question, he'll bring one of them and say, there you go. So it's something you have to watch out for. So it's saying, for example, Africa, the region is given as Central Africa. And it's not the answer. It's not something that makes sense. There's West Africa, South Africa, East Africa. And because you're asking it a question, it will give you an answer. Usually you go and pick one of the columns, pick a value, and come and give it to you. So for MySQL, you have to watch out for this. For some database systems like Oracle, it won't even let you do this. It'll give you an error and tell you, you have not grouped by this. I can't find a value for you. Right? But MySQL will let you do this, so please be cautious. Right? So are people cool with this thing? The grouping? Oh, that means that you should not, if you're looking for a region, you should not group before you get the region. Your query must also make sense. So if in an exam I tell you, okay, what is the name of all the, like if I say, get me, group all the boys in the class, get me the name of the boys. It's either you print all the names or you get one. But if you are printing one in the group by, you get one value and it will not be the right answer. Right. So for example, here I cannot ask, okay, so there's continent, okay, if I say name, isn't this interesting? It's picked one country from each. Asia, got Afghanistan, Europe, Albania, North America, Aruba. So you just went and picked 111. So to ask me for the whole group, what country? It's not a logical question. So it's just going to pick one of the values from that group. Right. Now, if I wanted to do something more sensible, that is maybe counting how many. So count star. Now it makes sense. Within the group, count what? All the people there. So you can do this for me. Count star. Because, so watch the query. Because of the grouping components. Now, when I say count star, it will what? Count all the things that are in the group. Are people cool with the concept? Right. There are other statistical things we can do from country. Let me just describe country. So within country as well, trying to find things that are about money. So gross national product is here. Life expectancy is here. So let's find out how, it's a morbid exercise, but let's do it anyway. Right? Which continents live the longest? Right? So so we found out how many countries are in each continent. There's life expectancy. Right? So that's the life, but is this query correct? What did I say about these values? It went to pick something from some country and brought it. I can't just say life expectancy. If I really want to know the life expectancy, it's better to ask me, maybe what is the minimum life expectancy? So min is there. That's the minimum. What's maybe the maximum life expectancy? So I hope you understand that for a group, there are certain questions you can ask. So I can, for example, ask, what is the age of the class? It's a foolish question, maybe. Because what will I say? 19, 20, 18, 60. It depends. So what value will you give? But I can ask what is the minimum age in the class? What's the maximum age in the class? What is the average age in the class? So say it again, if I ask what's the age of the class, what will you do? You give me the average. Or you can get the ages. So my point is, you can't give one value for the age, right? Unless the person gives you some more information. Whether he wants the minimum, he wants the maximum, he wants the average. You want all of them. Then you can guess what? Don't do the group. If you want to get everything, then what? Okay, so if you wanted all of the life expectancies, so select the country, there's a name and what? Life expectancy. Sorry. If I wanted, I shouldn't do what group because it's not. I'm not really sure that Afghanistan is 45.9. What I'll do is don't do any group. Just do your normal select, and then what? You will get all the information. But the moment you do a group, that means that what? You have put several information together. And if there are many values in there, and you try and get it, it will give you one of the values. So currently, it was currently finding, so I have here continent, group by continent. That means that after all the countries are grouped by continent, it is going through to find the minimum or going through to find the maximum life expectancy. Okay, so these are, wow, the life expectancies. Asia, 81. Antarctica doesn't have any information. Now. Africa is, well, 76. South America is 60, 76.1. Okay. All right, so it means that the longest living is Europe, followed by Asia, followed by North America. Oh wait, there's Oceania first before North America. Right. So this is the query. Okay. Once the problem with this grouping, let's try it. Unless I do another query and then sort again. This is something I didn't want to do today, but I'm going to do it just to. Okay, everybody must have his own alias. Okay, so this is not a nice way, but I've done it. The reason why I couldn't sort directly, so remember previously we could do order by, right? But the problem now is, this is another result, and I want to sort by the result again. The columns were indirect. The columns were computed results. The average wasn't one value, I guess the order by, because it doesn't belong to a table. So what you are seeing here is an inner query. So instead of saying select from one table, I'm saying select from another select, meaning that this whole table, select continent, is now called T. So you can, so this is something more advanced. I don't want to do it today, but someone asked, just show you it's possible, you can do it. You can do what? Open brackets, put in your query, alias it, T. And that means that now I have what? Continent, count star, life expectancy will be called min LE. Maximum life expectancy will be called max LE. And then order by min LE, or in this case specifically, T dot min LE. This is a little bit more complex. You don't have to know this one for now, but it's something that it's possible. You asked me to sort it. Sort it by. Okay, so you can sort things. So please, this thing that I did is not anything. It's not anything incredible. So for example, select star from country. So let's look at these inner queries. These are all the countries, but I can also do select star from country. Yeah, it's in this case it's the same. It doesn't do anything. But I could do something like where maybe region is equal to Western Africa. This is, so now it's doing one query. So that means that it's going to do this select star from country, store it in the C variable or the C name so that I can reuse it somewhere else. Right. So please, this is called, these are inner queries. Though for some companies, some organizations, they don't like people doing this. They don't like coders doing this because usually the point is, it's very likely that you can do this without inner queries. Inner queries are things that usually databases are not always able to optimize very well on. It's able to optimize when it knows these are my tables and it's picking from them. But once you do this, it means that it has to go and run this query before it even proceeds. But if you are left it alone and you are told the tables you want and the columns, then it has the freedom to plan the best way to get the information together. But when you do this, you tend to sort of enforce your own, do this query first. That means it has to do this query. And someone was saying, I think I wrote one where someone told me it's useless. Okay, it's not, I think I wrote something like this. Right? This is useless. It's a waste. You are just creating work for the database. If you are getting from, why are you selecting, putting in one table and then doing another select? Right? You can keep doing, but this is not a good way to code. Right? Unless you are hard pressed, pushed to the corner, then you use something like this. But I don't encourage. This is just a waste. Okay, so back to the group by. So let's look at the group by again. Right. So if you do a grouping, then you can ask some analytical questions about the data. So if I ask you, maybe find the country with the maximum gross domestic product or gross national product, you should, I think, yeah, we have that one in the table. Should be able to get that one. If I ask you about life expectancy, you should be able to get that one. If I ask you to sort, you should be able to sort with order by, right? And the group by, you can group by more than one thing. So kindly, this is the group. But assuming I want to group by within Africa or within Europe, I want to have other groups. I can just do what? Region. That means that for each of them, but right now, the data is coming and I'm not knowing. So for example, I have continent and it says Asia 8, Asia 18. These are different regions. So if I want to know the regions and I've grouped by, where did it go? I should also print out the region so that the information makes more sense. So Asia. So if you pick Middle East, they have different life expectancy. There they go. So in Eastern Asia, 63, 81. In Asia, they also have this. There are 18 countries. In Southeast Asia, so all of them, you can have what? Groupings within groups. So that means I first group by what? The continent, then group by the region. I want to see Africa. Sorry, I'm interested. All right. So please, when you are doing this, the order is like that's from what? Select. The whole show is select. You specify your columns. From, you specify the tables. Where? Before the group. So if you are wondering the whole show, where has to come before the group? So where, continent, I just want to get Africa. Okay, so that's Africa with the life expectancy min and max. So Central Africa, Eastern Africa, Northern Africa, Southern Africa. So across Africa, wow, West Africans seem to be living very long. All right, according to this data, anyway. So this can allow you to what? If you have some information in your company, you can what? Start to do some analysis on it. Some people talk about, oh, let's do AI, but even AI aside, you can still get some valuable information just by using normal select star from. And group by is very useful because that means you can group things in clusters, right? And when you group it, you can ask analytical questions on it. So instead of just min max, I could do the average expectancy, AVG. Is this actually accurate to just do average life expectancy? Are you sure? What about the population? So all the countries in Central Africa, the data that's recorded, so it says group by continent and then group by region. So within so let's do this. Without grouping, let me do this. Order by continent and then region. I just want to explain how it's doing this. So just give me life expectancy, region, name. Okay, so right now, I have sorted it by, continent and region. So it picks, I think I have to, not this one. There's another one coming, not this one. Okay, yeah, this one. So when we say group by, it means that what? So I said we group by continent and region. So when it says group by, it means that within that group, so the first group, for example, if it's group by continent and region, so the first group is Africa, Central Africa. That means within that whole group, everybody who has those two things, Africa, Central Africa, is doing what? Going to add them up and do the average. Right. So usually when you are thinking of group bys, try and think of how the data will be ordered. If you ordered it, and you can see when it's ordered, now it's grouped into buckets. So there's Central Africa, Eastern Africa. So if you went through with Excel and did this, you got all the data that was there. Africa, group followed by region. And you counted. That means everybody who has the same values, they are in the same group. I hope you're understanding. Okay, so my question I asked you was, if I said the average life expectancy was 50 points, at least for Central Africa, Eastern Africa, and so on, is this accurate? So, depends on how, is this calculation accurate, the way I'm doing it? So, for example, if I said that I wanted to find out the average grade, right, in each class, should I just pick do the average in this class. This as we'll do the average. Then we'll go to the next class and we'll do the average there. Then we'll go to the previous class, do the average there, and add up the averages from every single room. And then we do an average again. Would that get us the right result? Right. Because it's not capturing the weight of the information. Right now I'm just doing average life. There's a column there called life expectancy. But I don't believe that just by averaging life expectancy, that's the accurate result. Maybe you should multiply by how many people are in the country and normalize. I'm not a statistician, but that's what I would do. Like if I wanted to find the average in all the whole university, it's probably better to do. For every room, yes, you know the average, but multiply by the number of people in the room. So you have the whole weight. And then you go. So it's almost like your GPA. You multiply, you have all the maximum. That means that you are sort of getting back the actual ages of the individuals, right? By multiplying the total group. So if I said the average for this class was 3.5, that means I have to multiply by how many people are in the class, so I know how much we are contributing to the entire pot. I was supposed to just say, let's go and pick 3.5 from here, 3.2 from there. That will not give us a good average. So your question? The columns. Okay, so please, renaming the columns is done just by putting a name after. So as continent, as R, as tally. So this is possible, right? Sometimes you can omit the as and just do, and that will work as well, right? Same for the tables. If you have a table here, country, and you said as C, remember previously I used to do something like just C, that would work. But if you say as C, that would also work. Right? So it's like the as is optional. But it's good to know that you can use as, because for some dbms you have to use as. For some, you don't need to use as. But MySQL supports both. So if you have a column you want to rename, so my life expectancy column is disgusting. I should probably call it something else. I can call it as life expectancy. Right. So now it looks a bit better. Right. If you want to include characters that don't exist, I think in the second class also when we're doing MySQL, I said you can use the backtick. It's next to the tilde, this symbol, next to your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a symbol there that looks like a quote by itself, slanting off. Right? Once you use that one, then you can use spaces. Like so. Life expectancy with spaces. So that means that we are rounding up for today. Today you have learned a lot, you have done very well. The next step is what? Once this goes up, I expect that before Friday, so on Friday I'll give you some queries to answer for me based on this database. Right, you should, once you do it, practice is the next. If you don't practice, trust me, by next week you forget. As soon as possible. If I were you, the moment it goes up, I'll try and do this before the end of, before 5. I think the OS people, those in OS, the video is up. So before 5, you should be able to what? Once it goes up, go there and try the queries yourself. Even if you can't do the command prompt now, the queries that are here, you can do them in what? In your workbench. Though I'm encouraging you to learn how to use command prompt. Because if you can do a lot. Now, the last thing before you go is there is a server. Some people already know about this. The OS people are using this. Right? I think let's talk about this. You need to. How many people here use Windows? Almost everybody. All right. Windows machine. Everybody uses Windows. And how many people use Linux exclusively? You are using Linux. You are using Linux now. Not sure. Okay. Apple people, I will add you to the Linux group because it seems you have a shell and you can type some of the Linux commands. There's PowerShell. But PowerShell is not, okay, not that it's not good, but it doesn't have some of the Linux tools. So things like SSH, you can't do it. So what I was going to tell people was, so let me just grab this. If you go online and you search for PATI, right? So PATI is a program that can allow you to connect from one machine to another. Right? I know this is a database class, but it's good if you learn how to do this. Right? So this is at the end. I know it's 1 minute to time, but we'll do this. 1 minute to go. So you're going to download this program called PATI. Just search online, get PATI. And what PATI will do is, okay, is it still running or downloading or? Okay. Oh, where did my party go? Okay, there is party. If you run party, you are going to get an interface where it will ask you to enter host name and port. So that means you can specify a machine. So we have a machine that we've set up off campus that you can connect to. There's a database already. Yeah, we have a database for you, I think so. Okay. So host name. The host name you'll be using, so this I have to put online so other people can get it. Sorry. Those who are in the OS class already know this host name. So where's edit? So there's a machine with a name. I'll give you the name. Those are all the students in both classes. That's the machine's IP. So there's a machine that has been set up for, well, both OS and this class. Everyone has access. There's a database there. So what I would like people to do is, when you get party, this party, put that address in there, into the host name, and click open. When you click open, it will ask you for your username and password. Right? Your default username is just your Ashes username. Your password is just your Ashes username. It's just a new machine. It's not connected to SIS, nothing. So it means that if you go in there, you will have to change your password so that other people can't touch your stuff. The OS people can do this, but if you are in database for now, that means my username is KJ or Safmafo. My password, please don't go in. Right? You use your own username and your own password. Once you go in, this is a little bit, I wish I could make this properties. Where's properties? Can I make this bigger? Oh, change settings. Terminal, window. Oh, jeez. Appearance. Okay. How can I even change that? Okay, font. Let me make the font a little bit bigger. 16. It didn't change it. I'm not seeing any noticeable change. Okay, apply. Okay, I need to apply first. Okay, so this is now party. And in here, if you type MySQL exists on this machine. So when you type MySQL, you'll be here, and when you say show databases, so that means in future, I'll start putting up a database and tell you to go and work on it. Currently, well, it seems not everyone has a database. So what I'll do is I'll create a database for everyone. Not everyone is root, but I'll create a database for everyone. So coming up, sometime in about 2 or 3 weeks, I'll have people connect remotely. And that means that what? Command prompt, you must be capable. So that you can also do something like use test. Oh, sorry. That means you can use a database, you can show tables, you can do your query. There are no tables now, right? But there is a system where you can connect remotely and run your queries. So part of exam or something, it's possible for me to say, there's a database online, I've loaded the data, connect and what? And use the information to answer questions. The World Database is on Coursera right now. I've linked it. Right. So I'll put this video up before the end of the day so people can start practicing. This is for this Friday. I'll put the queries you should write for me this Friday as well. Thank you very much. Okay. Yes, what's going on? How do I post this? I put myself in trouble, right? Port 22. Just a second. I'm trying to pause this thing. Oh, come on. You really do this to me. Yeah, it should be one of the
shortcuts.
This thing it's a whole excitement. Hey, is this really going to happen to me?
It's still recording.
Oh, here. Stop. It's still recording. Why?